Well, hey guys, been a long time. Hope everybody is doing well. And um, boy, yeah, it's been a long time since I posted, been online, live or anything. So um, you're probably wondering, what are you doing? Don't normally put videos of me talking. So um, there's a reason why I haven't made music, why I haven't done anything in a long time as far as anything music, being online, talking to anybody. So figured I'd explain it to the people that care. Some of you probably kind of have an idea if you're familiar with the moderators or anything like that, or just RSBN in general, but some people may not. So I figured I'd just post a quick video update. So in 2021, it was about February. I was working just a normal job, and everything was going pretty well as a sales manager. And randomly, all of a sudden, this one day, I had this tremor that started happening in my left arm, and I thought that's weird. And my arm was kind of going against my chest a little bit, almost like if you're in a sling or something like that. It just wanted to do that. And I thought that's really weird. And I thought maybe it's just stress related because I was the only person working at the time. It was during COVID still, so we were very short staffed. And I thought, well, okay, that's interesting. And I just kept an eye on it. It wasn't like super apparent, but it was, definitely there when times were stressful. And after about 6 months, I left the job. It didn't really get better, it just sort of stayed stagnant. Um, Over time, though, it has progressed to the point where I have um, basically complete and total weakness on my left side. I have, from my shoulder down, I should say. So I have a tremor that's pretty consistent, like this. My hand is kind of turned into a dystonic, as they call it, position. So you can see my middle finger pretty much stays like this all the time. I have to really work to straighten my hand out. Um, I have constant muscle spasms from my shoulder down to my fingers. My wrist rotation, I don't have really. It's about as much as I can do. This has progressed over time, by the way, so this didn't happen overnight. This is something that's been slowly kind of going on. And at first, I kind of did the dude thing and ignored it. It didn't really do much about it because it didn't progress like this, like I said, overnight. So I thought maybe it would go away after getting rid of some of the stress factors in my life. As you can see, it didn't work. I still have it. Been to neurologists, ruled out things like Parkinson's, MS, Wilson's disease, tumors, no spinal tumor, no brain tumor, anything like that. I didn't get the COVID shot or anything like that, so, not related to that. Um, so basically, after seeing a movement specialist here recently, maybe you've gotten some answers. Could be something called hemidystonia or focal dystonia, which affects just one side of your body generally, because it does go from my shoulder to my fingers and then from my knee down to my toes. My leg has it as well, by the way, so my leg does tremor. I have weakness there, as far as being able to lift it, do things like that. I can walk, but it can be painful. And as I mentioned, I have pretty much, I mean, it's hard to put a number on it, but I would say I have about 25% of my strength left on my left side. So, I've pulled a muscle, I pulled my tricep getting out of a chair, like, at physical therapy, or, like opening a door can be painful, just anything. So I have to be careful. I've had to compensate, basically use old righty for pretty much everything. And ultimately, that's why I haven't been playing music, is because I really can't. I can, but it's a very, very poor version of what I was. And not to toot my horn, but I mean, I was very blessed to be able to play music for people and have them enjoy it and relate with it on an emotional level and everything. That was always such a blessing. Um, and not to insult anybody that's learning guitar or any of my previous students, it's not what I mean when I say this, but I've progressed in my playing to the ability physically where I play like I'm a beginner student, like 3 or 4 months in. The knowledge is there. I've forgotten how to play, but I can't physically do those things anymore. When I start to play, or like when I'm talking, as an example, you can see it starts to get worse. Anything stressful will exacerbate it. So, could be dystonia, could be something called functional movement disorder, which is kind of what they're leaning towards. yeah, hopefully that's the case because that is something that is possibly curable, but a 50-50 chance. To see where it could go with like therapy. Um, I'm obviously on medications, muscle relaxers, things like that to help with the pain because it is painful. I do experience a good amount of pain throughout the day, and luckily I'm able to sleep better because of a lot of these medications. But for a long time I was just very suffering silently and didn't say anything really to anybody. My family knew and wanted to help, and I just sort of pushed it away. But I've gotten to a point in my life where everything's changed, and I have no choice but to, go through them to help me, and they've been wonderful. So I'm not saying anything bad. It's just I've been pretty self-sufficient for a lot of my life, and especially given, a lot of the history of my life. I'm very flattered that my family would help me, but it's very hard to accept help. So I just ask for prayer that maybe I can get to a point one day where I can play again and I can do what I love to do because that's really how I communicate with people best is through music. It's always been my outlet, um, and my way to communicate with people because as a teacher, I loved teaching. As somebody that's been able to put out music that millions of people have heard, it's a blessing. I miss it a lot. So yeah, if you would pray for me, good vibes if you don't do that, but please pray. That's what I would prefer. I know God has given me a challenge. I just have to answer that challenge and do it to the best of my ability, which I'm doing. My life has completely changed. It's very weird to go through this stuff and not feel like you have control of yourself. And just pray. That's all I ask for. And, especially for my family too, for having to help me and put some of their stuff on hold in their lives to be able to help me and my friends and things that are there for me too. But I could always use prayer and guidance from anybody else, good words from anybody. So who knows? Maybe I'll still do some musical things, maybe with like sequencing on the computer or something like that. I don't like to do electronic music and stuff. I'm more of a hands-on person, as you've seen with the pick and playing the guitar and all. But um, I don't know. I have to find some way to be able to vent musically and channel that out of me. So that is a possibility. But I'll try to update regularly. I can't promise that because it's something that's kind of personal to me. But I felt that you guys should definitely hear me out on this because I think it's important that you understand kind of where I'm at, and I hope to get back to it someday. So I appreciate you guys watching, and take care of yourselves. God bless.